This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and once again I am delighted to be joined by Fabio Wardley over Zoom. Fabio, it's only been a week or so since we last spoke, but now you've got some fight news which has come out of the blue to many. First of all, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How's things with you, though? How's everything going?
Everything's all good, mate. Glad to be doing an interview with some fight news for yourself. And like I said, it came out of the blue because on the back of our last chat, you was fairly convinced yourself and Nick Webb would not cross paths, or at least anytime soon. And all of a sudden, you will be facing each other come August 7th. First and most obvious question is, how did the fight eventually come about?
Good question. I'll be honest, mate. I think it was partly credit to you. And some of the interviews I did where I was giving him some stick and calling him a pussy and just saying he didn't want it and just kind of forcing his hand, really, and saying, like, look, either put up or shut up kind of thing. And if you want the fight, I've been chasing the fight for over a year now. It's been something I've been asking for. So if you want it, come and get it. It's here. But if you don't, then fuck off. Then go do something else. Stop talking about it. Stop, like, maybe umming and ahhing over it and playing around with the idea. There's people out here that really want to fight, that want real fights, good tests, that want to move forward with their career. But thankfully, he's found a nut or two, and he's gonna go for it.
So how quickly, or how difficult, if it was it to kind of get the negotiations, get the fight signed, or was it relatively swift?
No, it was quite a long time. It was quite a long time going. It was back and forth for a long time. That's why at one point it was back and forth for ages. There was a lot of things going on, a lot of demands and requests and things on his side that he wanted. And then it got to a point where me and the team were just like, there's just too many barriers here that we're trying to overcome, and it's just becoming a waste of time, really. So that's when obviously we did the interview, and I said, look, it looks like it's basically not going to happen, because me and the team have said, like, look, we're not wasting our time again. We've been in situations like that before where we've waited to the last minute and someone said they're going to do something, Lucas Brown being a prime example, and then they pull out and we're left in the lurch kind of thing. So we wasn't ready to do that again. We wasn't prepared to put ourselves in that situation. So we put a timestamp on this. And actually it still exceeded that timestamp. We still gave a bit more leeway. But after conversations with me, the team, and Eddie assured us, he said, look, I can do this. I can get this over the line. I can get it done. Just give me some more time. So he did. And credit to him, fair to his word, he did the job and got it all sorted.
Fabio, for yourself, how much of a surprise is it that the pair of you will now be squaring off?
Yeah, to be fair, I am pretty surprised, because after, like I say, it's been a while. It's not like short. It's been about 6 weeks that this has been ongoing. And speaking to the team regularly, speaking to Ed regularly, and just the general vibe of the whole negotiations just didn't feel like they were gonna come together. So we were really kind of just like, we were looking at different options, looking at other things that we were going to do, and yeah, we started looking at other opponents and different avenues to go down. But finally, this came off.
Fabio, this is kind of your first real domestic test, shall we say. Is that something that excites you more so, facing somebody else who's obviously well ranked within the British governing body?
Yeah, it is. It's something that, when, like, obviously after I fought Melina, the thing is I jumped quite a few steps ahead, and there was still quite a few domestic kind of good domestic fights to be made. And people thought I was just kind of gonna just pull away from those and not do them and not run away, but just avoid them, and they weren't going to happen. But I always said, like, just because I went for the Melina fight doesn't mean that I'm not going to come back around and come and do these good domestic fights. So yeah, this is a good thing. It's one of the good ones out there. There's a few other ones as well, like Cash Ali is another good one. Nathan Gorman's always been a good name. So there's still more fights out there to be made and had. this is just one on the kind of stepping stone list that we're looking to work through.
Fabio, both you and Alan Babbage are under the Dillian Whyte management banner. Alan, I spoke to him earlier, and this is kind of like, it's an interesting conversation or topic rather. Why do you think he's preferred Nick Vises to face yourself instead of Alan Babbage?
Well, the thing is, initially, he didn't. He went for the initial plan for Nick was to fight in Newcastle, but he priced himself out of an easy fight in Newcastle, so he didn't fight. Then he wanted to fight Alan at fight camp, and then he wanted to fight me after. That was his plan initially. But obviously he priced himself out of Newcastle, didn't do that. And then the board called for me versus Nick for my English title. So that kind of just forced that fight in play. Actually, wait there. Wait. Just sit there with that.
It was something I was about to ask you about, Fabio. As you mentioned the English title on the line, you have said previously you are looking beyond that now, and for this fight with Nick, if it was to have ever happened, you would have liked it to have been for a better title, i.e. the British or the Commonwealth. Beyond this fight, have you thought about what could be in store? If you're facing another domestic name in Nick, are you looking at that domestic route and looking to secure if Joe Joyce was to vacate the British title?
Yeah, most definitely. But like I've said before, and I think I said exactly with you in other interviews, I can't just sit and wait. Joyce is holding on to the belts and doing what he wants to with his own belts, and he's well within his rights. That's it. That's his belts. He's won. He can do what he wants with. So we all have other careers, we all have other moves to make and other plans to do. So that's what we're going to do. And this is one of the domestic fights. And then hopefully by then, maybe Joyce will have moved forward after we've had his fight with Takam. He'll have dropped a belt or two or maybe. And that leaves another gap and that leaves another opportunity. So that's the plan. But if not, then we keep moving. We don't stop. And I'm not just going to sit and wait for something to come available. I'm going to keep moving forward and keep progressing. There are other little belts that you're seeing people grab, like Cash Ali the other week grabbed the IBF, and even Nick himself has the IBO, one of those kind of lower level win national, whatever they are, kind of belts. So there are little belts and little notches that we can tick off to grab. So hopefully beyond this, we can go for something like that if obviously Joyce decides to hold on.
Fabio, it seems like you and Alan Babbage are just targeting the same guys at the minute, because he said earlier he wanted a bit of Cash Ali himself.
Yeah, I know. Me and him, it's funny because me and him are on the same kind of paths, and we talk a lot regularly as well, and we talk about the same people, and we laugh and we say, look, if one of us, it's almost like we're a tag team brothers, because if one of us doesn't get him, then the other one will. The same with Nick. Like if Nick didn't get him, then I'm going to get him. And it's the same with Cash. If I don't get Cash, then he'll get Cash. Like, it's one way or the other, but one of us is going to get you. So it's just whoever's out there has got to be ready, has got to be aware.
Do those other names, say like a Cash Ali, say if you were successful against Nick Webb and then Cash Ali was offered to you, but in the interim, say if he fought Alan Babbage, but he was to lose, would another loss on, say, Cash Ali's record still make you want that fight?
Not necessarily, no, because I'm on an upward trajectory. I'm going upwards, and for me to fight, I think me and Babbage are kind of on similar levels. So for me to then fight his loser would not really gain me much credit, I don't think. Whereas there's other fights out there to be made that would gain me credit, that I could get something from, whether it just be the kind of the credit for the fight, or even if it be a belt or whatever. So. No, if he was to lose, then for me, the fight would be off the table. It wouldn't be of interest.
So, Fabio, obviously, one question which I'm sure you've played this scenario out in your head many a time. Come August 7th, what happens between yourself and Nick Webb?
Clean, clear, and nasty KO. Like, I'm coming for it, because the thing is, you can't. I'm nice and I'm polite and I do everything which I feel to be the right way and the honourable way in boxing, but don't run from me from a year and don't give me any excuse under the sun and then turn up and give it the big I am. Like, I'm going to come for you differently for this fight. Like, I'm going to come different. I'm going to bring a different game, and you're going to see a different side, and it's going to be aggressive, and it's not going to be nice. It's going to be enjoyable to watch, I promise you, but it's not going to be enjoyable for Nick in the ring.
That's something I was going to ask you, because of how kind of long it's been talked about, a fight between the pair of you, and it's gone back and forth between the pair of you as well. Has that made you not just more determined or motivated, but brought a bit more of an aggressive nature to your own preparations that you want to kind of bring into the ring come August 7th?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like pure pain and pure hurt. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, God willing, fingers crossed, I hope he comes out of the ring healthy, but I'm there to do serious damage and there to make a serious statement of, look, with me, it's all fun and games. I'm here to laugh and joke with you, but when it comes down to it, I'm gonna, like I've said in previous things, I'm gonna separate your chin from your face. Like, I'm gonna take it out. You're gonna see some bombs. He's a big boy. He's gonna throw some big shots himself. But I'm gonna let him know that size, like being that big, is not gonna help you in this situation. I'm gonna get there and get there twice as fast and do twice as much damage.
Is that something else which excites you about Fabio, knowing that Nicky will come, he will throw big shots, and it's again just more tests for yourself to overcome?
No, no, because I've fought big men in the past. I've fought big, pretty much. I think majority, I'd say 90%, 80% of my fighters have all been bigger than me. They've all been like maybe an inch or two taller. They've definitely weighed more. So size and height to me doesn't matter. I spar some of the biggest and the best in the division, and I hold my own, and I catch them clean, and I do my job, and I do what I do best. The problem for Nick is trying to find someone like me, trying to find someone who fights like me, trying to find someone who replicates me, and that's right now, that's near on impossible to do out there.
Just moving away from yourself, Fabio, one fight I want to get your thoughts on, and one kind of call out and some back and forths we've seen between your manager and Charles Martin. Just want to get your take on that.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Dill's always good for someone, like, he's good for a few words. If someone's got something to say, you'll be sure that he's going to quick fire back real soon. And it's a good fight, to be honest. It's a good American fight. Like, if anything, we was all a bit iffy about Charles Martin when he first came to the UK, and obviously had his fight with Joshua, and we looked at him and thought maybe he was just kind of a rollover for Joshua. But it seems that he's had a bit of a revival, a rejuvenation. He's come on well, and he's done well for himself in his most recent fights and stuff. He's ranked quite well as well. So overall, it would just be a good fight. And I know Dill wants to fight in America. So getting out there and that kind of, because he's a good name out there as well. He's well known. So overall, it ticks all the boxes. I'd be happy to see it.
All right, Fabio, just before I let you go, 2 final messages. Firstly, for Nick Webb, if he is to come across this interview, what would you like to say to him?
Fuck you.
Short and simple there, Fabio. And then just finally, a message to everybody who will tune in come August 7th, and everybody who will follow and support you throughout your camp, and of course on the night. Just a message to those.
Thank you to everyone that always tunes in, everyone that tunes into obviously Boxing Social, and everyone that tunes into my fights on fight night, because like we noticed a lot throughout the pandemic that this sport is nothing without the fans, and just thank you to everyone that this is going to be that first big event back, them first few big nights back with a few fans there, some noise and everything, and I'm buzzing to get involved.
Fabio, it's a pleasure to catch up with you once again. Enjoy the preparations in camp, and I will speak to you again soon. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.